everybody, my name is Geraldine and I am here today to give you a presentation on effective communication. I'm immediately going to be talking about the 7 areas that are absolutely essential for effective communication. We're going to be speaking about fear, or otherwise described as nerves, meeting and greeting skills. We will be talking about posture, phonetics, the art of listening, understanding body language, and finally empathy. First and foremost, we will speak about fear. Fear, what am I talking about when I'm describing fear? I'm talking about people that say, I am absolutely a bag of nerves. I have a pit in my stomach. I have butterflies. I want to throw up. I am sick. People that are really stuck to the ground in many instances say for example, the greatest fear in the world is in fact public speaking. And if you ask somebody to say something, they totally clam up. Also, it's debilitating insofar as if you are made feel sick by the fear, you will feel drained. And what other effects can it have on you? It will hold you back. So if you are living with this fear of that every Friday presentation on Monday, and you're bringing that fear home and it's literally ruining your life. So that's really in a nutshell what we're talking about. Can you do something about it? Yes, you can. So you recognize that fear and yes, you're going to confront that fear. How are you going to do that? Is it possible? Yes, it is. Now, first and foremost, you're going to put more effort into preparation and rehearsal, knowing your material. All of that is essential. And when you're confident that you know that, then you have at least reduced some fear. The next and largest chink in your armor is what we call diaphragmatic breathing. So you really put your hands on your hip, and beneath your rib cage here, you will find you have a space which is known as the diaphragm, and you're going to fill up your lungs plus the diaphragm by taking in a big deep breath, hold and release. And what have I done there? I've taken in a large deep breath full of oxygen, reoxygenated my blood, and that slows the heart rate down, and in doing that it calms me down. So there you go, that's what diaphragmatic breathing, to be practiced, and do that several times before any presentation and you will find yourself much better. Little tip, keep a few little pieces of nerves and a bit of fear, because at least you know you're going to have a very good presentation. The next one we're going to be talking about is meeting and greeting skills. Now, meeting and greeting skills we tend to take for granted, but I'm taking you out of your comfort zone now. There's no friends or family. You're on your way with a business card in your hand and you're off to represent your company. There's going to be 50 to 100 people in that room. What am I going to do? How am I going to work this room? So here are a few tips. You will survey the room. There will be people in 2s, 3s, 4s and 5s. Pick a 4 or 5 a group. You will always find somebody that looks, and you feel that you have a good feeling about them, or they're standing on the periphery of that group. Walk up with a gentle tap and an outstretched hand. Look at that person firmly in the eye, good eye contact and a firm handshake, remember, and say, my name is Geraldine and I am here representing, we'll just say Google for instance. And he will say, my name is Tom, or she will say, my name is Margaret. And then name recognition now is your next big thing. You've got to remember the name. So you will say back to him, I love your name if it's unusual, or I love her name, or my father's name is Tom, my brother, my college mate, or whatever. So you must recognize that name. Now smile, it's free, and it's a wonderful relationship builder. Now the introduction is going to continue around that group, and again you replicate exactly what you did, a firm handshake, good eye contact and be engaging. Now at this junction you are now going to become what's called a contributor. You may be asked a generalized question about the fact of what company you work for or what you do for that company. Now give that information out if it's to a group, like as if you're sprinkling them with water, a watering can. Don't hone in on one person. Sometimes in a group there can be a powerful person, that will overtake. But address everybody and give them good eye contact, and they will like you for it. On the other hand, if you end up speaking one-to-one with a person, just remember, give them your complete undivided attention, and they will also like you for that. And do not try to eat in a wig. Remember, undivided attention. Now finally, relax. Don't take yourself too seriously. Be gracious and yet be humble. Now you're going to take your leave. You extend your hand, and remembering every name of the 4 or 5 people, you take your leave, and I guarantee you it's highly unlikely that you won't walk away with all of their business cards. That's a fact. Posture. Posture is very important because our body is important in terms of how it's doing the talking. And if you are giving a presentation, it's important that you have good posture. It's important if you have good posture every day in terms of your bosses. If you want to get on, you don't want to be slouching or walking badly. So I am giving you a tip here in terms of giving a presentation. Stand with your feet shoulder width apart, knees flexed, and now you have good skeletal alignment. This aids good projection if you are giving a presentation and speech. And generally, good posture in any event gives a good sense of you and your well-being and the aura you give off about yourself, and is vital as a tool in effective communication. Phonetics or diction, or the spoken word, of course, it's an integral part of effective communication. One important note here on phonetics is pronunciation, the importance of not speaking too fast. Slow down, finish your words. Don't shorten your words by not including your INGs, your INGSs, your EDs, and so on. In slowing your speech down, you will find that you're much more in control of what you want to say, and therefore your message is much less likely to be misunderstood. And indeed, that's also a nerve reducer. That's a fact. So that's a very important one. The art of listening, also essential. This is a very important area, a large area. Some people confuse hearing and listening. Now let me tell you that hearing is just a neurological passive event that's taking place in our body all the time. Our brain in milliseconds is actually processing every sound in the background, a noise, a bang, a clap, a laugh, and we understand what that is without even when we are speaking or we are listening. Now on the other hand, listening requires our full intention to listen, our full focus, and our full attention. But more importantly, above all, listening has to be learned. That's the difference. So listening is very powerful again, because misunderstandings can lead to an awful lot of mistakes, as we all know too well. The next important one is body language. Well, it's very important because 55% of the communication that we are emitting is a direct result of our body doing the talking. 7% was only down to the words that come out of my mouth here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and 38% will have been down to how you communicated as to my pitch, pace, and my tone. Where on the other hand, 55% of everything I did and said really will be remembered through how I used my hands, my arms, my mouth, my head. My body was doing the talking. So it's a vast area, very important in business, essential because you can also learn to read others. Very much an area to be learned. Finally, we have empathy. Empathy is considered to be the most essential quality for civilization. Communication experts agree, and that empathy should be number one on the list of essential qualities for effective communication. I've left it to last to make sure that you don't forget that. What is empathy? It's really having an understanding, a sensitivity, an awareness of others around you. And a good example is somebody at work that's in difficulty, normally would never fall behind in their deadlines, is doing so, seems to be distressed and distracted, and you know what? You are aware, you are sensitive, and yes, you step in and you take some of the workload of that person until their bereavement, grief, sorrow, upset leaves. That's the difference. That is empathy for us. So finally, I have to say that if you can conquer all of these 7 areas that we have just talked about, that are all essential to becoming an effective communicator, you certainly will be on the road, and good luck to you all. Thank you very much for your time.